This is SoapBox Radio. Potting it out there with my lime boots. The Lifestyle Edit.
Hey guys, it's Ryan. It's Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Coming to you live this afternoon from the studio, 27 boxes. No, we have not lost 27 boxes here in Melville. And the sun is starting to come out in the studio. We outside, starting to have a good day. Looks like we're going to have a good day today. I know we're going to have a great show. Welcome to SoapBox Radio, and I'm really excited for today's show as we consider a rather meaty issue which I believe is rather relevant to us here and now in South Africa. Before we get into the show, some feedback. You may recall from my first show this year, which I chatted to Anastasia Tioro about her initiative to bring sanitary products to young girls in rural Zimbabwe, thereby keeping them in school. Anastasia confirmed her dates for her next trip up to Zim, which she has now told me are set for mid-May 2018. Engagement with the retailers and the manufacturers continue as we seek ways to assist Anastasia and her partner Stanford in this worthy cause. Keep listening as we plan towards this trip, and I'll soon be asking you to assist as we build up to this trip in May. Back to today's show, let me tell you about this great new upliftment project I found out about recently.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go!
Great. So I have in studio with me today Ryan Tyack and Gareth Ruttle, who, together with a third friend, Nick Braby, founded a non-profit organization called Sithanda Upliftment Projects in September 2015. Driven by a passion and a purpose matched with a common interest of giving back to the community, the guys are dedicated to making a difference to the lives of those less fortunate right here in South Africa. Sithanda, which means we love in Zulu, is a platform that allows ordinary people like you and I to make a difference by giving back to the community. Through their various events and fundraising efforts, an environment and culture of collaboration is fostered by Sithanda, allowing you and I to engage with the greater community, thereby making a positive impact. Sithanda's mission is to unlock childhood discovery and uplift individuals through the foundation of early childhood development centers in underprivileged communities. With interest done, let's jump straight into today's discussion and meet Ryan and Gareth. Welcome, guys.
Ryan, thanks so much for having us.
Good to have you guys here today.
Awesome location.
Thank you. Have I summed Sithanda up correctly?
Yeah, you have. Our core goal with Sithanda is to really get out into the community, make a difference.
Sure.
We're focusing at the moment on ECD centers. We're just trying to make a positive difference out there.
Yeah, great, Gareth. Ryan, tell me about the conversation amongst three friends a couple of years ago that led to what we now know as Sithanda. How did that come about, and what was the nature of the conversation that led to this decision?
Yeah, Ryan, the famous coffee conversation question. It really is where it all started. Gareth called us up, myself and Nick, and said, boys, let's go for a coffee.
Yeah.
Around the table, we decided let's do something bigger than ourselves. We come from very fortunate backgrounds, very blessed upbringings, and it was literally that moment we stepped away from the table knowing our confidence in each other and therefore knowing what we could possibly achieve together.
Okay, so Gareth, it was really something on your heart, eh?
So I was studying at that stage of my life through Gibbs, and I had a fantastic educator that we were on one of the courses we were on.
Yeah.
And she really showed us the importance of, of what we can do individually, and when we come together, even more so what we can achieve.
Sure.
She kind of, put the calling on our class in general, and really showed us that we do have this responsibility as a generation to kind of, leave our mark on the earth in a positive manner. And that kind of, sparked something in me.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to start or anything like that. So, kind of pulled the two greatest men I knew into a room to have a conversation, and we just kind of started from there.
And what was Ryan and Nick's response? Were they like, okay, we'll get back to you?
Yeah, I know. First of all, when I said coffee and not beer, I think they panicked a bit.
Okay, this is serious stuff.
It was a very relaxed conversation. I think I just kind of put my heart on the table and just said what I felt, and obviously the reason why the three of us kind of sat down in the first place is because we're all very like-minded. So I didn't think it would come as a surprise to them, obviously. But it was great. The guys were on board from the beginning. We didn't know what saying yes meant at that stage. I think if we knew now, we might have contemplated it for a little
Maybe
bit longer.
the beer would have been a better option.
Yeah, exactly. But it was great. I think we all kind of said there that in principle and in concept, it was a great idea and something that we would like to work towards. Part of that conversation was, to kind of create that legacy. When I was chatting with them, I said, when we're older and we sit in the rocking chair when we're 70.
That's exactly what you did say.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and I was just like, what will you look back on? What will you be proud of?
Yeah.
And what will make you sleep better at night?
Yeah.
And I think from that our vision was born. When we're just looking down the line, not getting too caught up in the now. We knew what we kind of wanted to achieve, not like cause specific or anything, but we knew we wanted to make a positive difference. And then, I think, the rest has just been a roller coaster from there.
I can imagine. Ryan, tell me, with so many prevalent issues in society in South Africa today, why early childhood development specifically?
Yeah, Ryan. So someone once told me, like, what breaks your heart, that's where you'll find passion.
Sure.
And I never really understood it until I started walking this journey. And it's so true. We went into the Komashu Valley in Natal.
Because you guys are all from Durban, huh?
Yes, we're Natal boys. Gareth is a
I
Joburg
pretend
boy.
to be. I'm
He's-
from here, but
okay,
I've
you're
spent
honoring
a
Italian.
while down there. Yeah.
He's not quite sure. Yeah. So we went into the Komashu Valley and we met Doris and Bongani Kumalo, who are the current mother and father of our ECD facility there. And I think it all just started where we saw like very young children not being supervised, not in a caring environment, not being educated and stimulated. And we couldn't step away. We knew we were called to do something there, and it's got us to where we are now. And we're very passionate about what young people need and what young people deserve. And education is a basic human right.
I mean, the stats are horrifying. The stats that I got from you guys. In South Africa, children aged between 0 to 4 years, which make up 10.4% of the population, yet 84% of this group do not have access to early childhood development. I can understand how it would tug at your heart, to be honest.
And we saw it in a very, concentrated, small area, and the impact was significant on our lives. So when I try and think to that stat, to be dead honest, my brain can't really process it all. It just shows you like how much we can do and what impact we can really make.
Don't realize you actually put yourself out there. Huh?
I think just to add on that, I mean, when we realized, we saw these stats and we saw the kind of, horrific state of what people don't have access to. But I think what really clinched at our hearts as well is when we realized, we did a bit of research and we realized how expensive and inefficient it is to correct these issues later, because ECD is such a fundamental part of a person's development, and for kids that miss that and they come into grade 1 already on the back foot, their chance of getting through the schooling system is really low to begin with, and if they do even make it through, and then the cost to rectify that as well is just massive. It's about 8 times the cost. So for every $1 you spend on ECD, you would need to spend about $8.
Correct.
When the kids are in school.
Frightening. Tell me, are you guys fathers? Ryan, Gareth?
No, we're still chasing unicorns.
That you know of?
Not yet. Look forward to the day, but no pressure and no rush.
Interesting that children are then so heavily on your heart, but I mean a noble cause nonetheless. How supportive, Ryan, is government with regards to ECD? I note that you guys refer to ECD as a basic human right.
Yeah.
In your literature.
So, we essentially obviously want government funding and support, but what we set out to do from the beginning, and we know the difficulties in getting our hands on that support, it is limited as well. So we said to ourselves, let's show people what we can do. That first school was all built through individual efforts, fundraising events, and just guys wanting to show people what was possible, refining the model, getting the blueprint 100% accurate, and then showing government that this is possible.
Yeah.
If we can get your backing, opportunities are endless.
And have you seen an improvement in relations with government? Have you approached them yet?
We haven't approached them formally yet.
Okay.
We certainly would like to, but we know that it's more about building our brand, building confidence in our model, and then going to them with something that they really can't refuse.
I like that. It's responsible. It's putting your money where your mouth is. It's not just going there and saying, please, I need 10 million rand to build something. Oh, I think I've got the right approach.
Yes.
It's a case of I actually believe I'm doing the right thing, and I'll put my own money or however you guys have done it. So hats off to you guys for that.
Thank you.
Gareth, which communities do you guys seek to partner and collaborate with? How did you decide Komashu in those days?
So I think just to take a step back in terms of that journey. So when we started this charity or NPO, we didn't have a specific cause in mind. So as we said earlier, we didn't go straight into ECDs, and you know, that was our calling. Probably because we're not fathers. But so we started, and the thinking behind it was that we'll create events, fun events, pull people who typically would like the idea of doing something good. They kind of don't have the means or it's not easy enough. Like, I sat there that day and I was like, if I wanted to give today, where would I start?
Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't know that answer straight away was, I think, part of the problem that we were trying to solve. So we started off and we went out into the community and we tried to find causes and charities that were doing great stuff already. And we would create our events, raise the money, and then, tell everybody about these amazing people in the communities and then donate the funds to them. Obviously, up until recently, this has been a part-time thing on our side. So from a time commitment point of view, to take on something ourselves wasn't easy.
Sure.
We're all relatively young guys trying to make it in the big bad world.
Yeah.
And then through that, we did several charities. Through that, we raised funds to initially it was for an abortion clinic. Then we went to schools. We did a golf day where we raised money to put children into schools. So I think that was our intro into that avenue. And then as we went on from there, we kind of came across eKutheleni. When we went down to eKutheleni, we met Doris and Bongani, who are the mother and father of this at that time a creche. And when we heard their story and what they were doing with what they had, we realized that we couldn't now go back and just raise money to give to like charities that already had corporate funding and had good funding. And that was really the turning point, I think, for Sithanda. And the reason why I mentioned a beer earlier is because now we've taken on a baby, and it's we have to nurture this thing, and and we're loving every minute of it. But for sure now, from a time consuming point of view, it's been very hectic. Ryan's just stepped out of his corporate realm to kind of head this thing up full time, which is absolutely fantastic, and I think it's the beginning of a great road for us. But so sorry, I've kind of sidetracked there, but. We didn't find eKutheleni found us, if I can say it like that.
I hear you.
It opened our eyes, and now we are searching, and we've got ambitious goals to go out there and find more communities, find more people like Doris and Bongani, share their story, and educate kids.
Great. Guys, send us your questions on Facebook and on Twitter. You'll see on my Facebook, my blog Facebook platform, you'll see there is a live stream happening at the moment. Send us your questions for Ryan and Gareth. I'll be back shortly with the guys.
This is SoapBox Radio. Potting it out there with My Lime Boots. The Lifestyle Edit. Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at My Lime Boots. Find My Lime Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. At My Lime Boots. And on YouTube. At My Lime Boots Live.
I'm back and live this afternoon chatting to the guys from Sithanda Upliftment Project, Gareth and Ryan. Ryan, talk to me about the ECD centres, the Early Childhood Development Centres, which are at the heart of this project at the moment, the actual centre itself.
Ryan, I think the key word behind that and the entire ECD model is sustainability. It's what corporates want to see. It's what we want to be able to step back from one day and let it run itself with the help of the community. So our ECD centres don't only educate the children, we have a feeding scheme in our centres. We also try and go the green solution, solar partners, water harvesting and treatment partners. So we're trying to find a solution and refine a blueprint that is effectively green, cost effective, and upskills the community at the same time. It's all good us going in there with a curriculum and teaching the kids, which education is fundamentally important. But it's also our teachers, women who are so selfless and teach these kids. We also need to make sure that they're skilled appropriately. Push them through a training system, allow them to get qualified in order to teach. And that's when we, like I said, one day step back from the situation. It can look after itself. And we've actually empowered people to go further. I think Gareth wants to just touch on something.
Sure.
Yeah, I think another thing to say with that is we've kind of got, as part of this, we call them ecosystems, where, just like an ecosystem, everything must support each other and it must become self-sufficient. So our kind of goal is to be able to come in, put the procedures and processes in place, bring in the sustainability, but then to be able to walk away in 5 years having donated the buildings and all the skills transfer to a point where that school is able to provide for the people who are running it and who are involved in it, uplift the community, and for them to have the skills now to then go out and do a ripple effect and take that.
That's the period. That's the investment, or not investment time horizon, but that's the project time horizon, 5 years. Eh?
Well, that's our goal. So that's what we're working towards now. I think any less than that might be too fast. We're not in a rush to get out by any means, but we do need to have a goal that we work towards. If it's longer, it's longer. I mean, that's not an issue.
So be it,
But it's really about, for us, it's super important to push that knowledge transfer to the community.
All right. So Ryan, tell me, what goes on at an ECD? Where does the curriculum come from? Is it something that you guys write yourself, or have you sourced it from curriculum providers? Curriculum is just one of the things I'm thinking about.
Sure. So what we like to call it is like a plug and play sort of concept. So we wanted to go the whole route, but it's a long process. It's a difficult process, and there are a lot of dead ends, red tape, etc. So in our model, we got, like, for curriculum as an example, you ask the professionals to come in. There's excellent curriculums out there, and curriculums which are specific to these environments. I say this with respect, that the curriculum that you might be teaching in Sandton and the areas we are blessed to come from won't necessarily 100% fit into these rural locations. They don't have the same aids, etc. So we adapted with people who have been doing it for years, and we're in touch with a wonderful woman who's been doing it in another community this is her 11th year, and she's refined that curriculum model to a point where she says to us, guys, I've now got the answer, and I love what your hearts are standing for. Let me plug in with the curriculum, and then of course the solar, etc. Our building partners and things like that, so that we can provide an all-inclusive situation that does the magic work down in these locations.
And the building partners that go into the building are also sourced locally from the community. It's a 360-degree approach to community.
Certainly, yeah. So our building partners currently, I'm going to let Gareth touch on it.
Okay.
Just incredible support that's come forward. Gaz, maybe you want to let them know about Elangeni.
Yeah, so maybe another point around our ecosystem is that we're trying to partner in all aspects with people that are, or businesses that are experts in that field. So, I mean, a really great example is our building partner, Elangeni Buildings. They came on board. We didn't actually have enough money to build the school at the time, and they came on. They built. We gave them what we could, and they kind of said, "Well, give us, what you can when you can." And just that gesture in itself,
was quite something.
Made us choose them as our building partner because if you've got people who can identify with what we're trying to do and help us get there that much quicker and faster and cheaper, that's what we're doing. So from the water purification systems we want to put in, the solar for the electricity, the dietitians that are coming on board to help us with building plans for these kids, how to feed them, educate the parents on how to feed the kids outside of school. What else is there? It's just, it doesn't stop. I mean, we've just had some guys donate some containers to us, learning material, education material, toys. These are partners that we could go, if money wasn't an issue, obviously we had 10 million rand, we could go and just buy everything ourselves, but that's also not the point of this, and we're glad we kind of resource stuck at most of the time.
Ryan, it comes down to exceptional people out there truly wanting to do unbelievably good things. They're there. If you choose to see them, they certainly are there, and we are super grateful for the people who have chosen to walk this journey with us.
Where does this model come from? I mean, is it a model that you guys are not copy and pasting, but I mean, you're putting together and constructing as you go along, or have you loosely based it on something that's been done in, say, in similar countries like, say, South American countries? Where's it coming from?
So it's our own. We saw what's been done out there. We understand that if you have the funding and the means to go and uplift a community, you can go in there and do it. But more important to us was, again, the sustainability and the cost effectiveness. If we could show that you can put a great model together with all the plug and play partners and then replicate that, if we are blessed 10, 50, 100 times, then you really are able to make a significant difference.
But we certainly are feeling our way through this. I mean, this isn't something that we're copying and pasting. I don't think you can. I think South Africa is such a unique place.
Can't exactly just Google it and then, oh, look, there's a template.
Oh, well, there we go.
$9 a month.
There's been a lot of hard and valuable lessons we've learned along the way on that. We've had our fingers burned once or twice, and we ourselves learned just how different cultures and communities are. Sometimes you think you're doing good, but you're actually annoying people. There's so many dynamics that you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
And that's why it's been great for us as well. We've learned a lot, and I think it's really coming together now. It looks like a great ecosystem. It works really well. So yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah,
Sure. Okay, guys, hang around. When we come back, we're going to carry on chatting to Gareth and Ryan.
You're tuned in to SoapBox Radio. Podding it out there with My Line Boots. Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at My Line Boots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at My Line Boots, and on YouTube at My Line Boots Live.
I'm back this afternoon chatting to Ryan and Gareth from Sithanda Upliftment Project about early childhood development educational issues here in South Africa. Ryan, talk to me around what are some of the day-to-day realities being faced by children in these underprivileged communities?
Yeah, Ryan, I think it's a lack of, you go in there, and for me, you see how little they have, but with so little, how much they're able to do together as a community. I mean, you take Doris and Bongani Kamalo as an example, and how they just chose, before even our paths crossed, to look after kids. If she had food, she would feed the kids. If she didn't have food, she would make another option, make a plan, feed some, the ones who needed it most. And I think that speaks volumes, because it says people who have little but choose to do much with it shows you that when you go in there effectively and with a solution and a framework, not to take over but to give them something to meet, then you start seeing that ripple effect of good flowing through the community.
Yeah. Speaking of ripple effect, Gareth, do you see any glimmers of hope, bearing in mind the recent monumental changes we're experiencing in South Africa?
Yeah, I think I'm going to let Ryan...
sorry, did I get it the wrong way around? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I'm going to let Ryan answer that, because he's just had something really awesome happen through one of the Gibbs courses he's doing at Gibbs at the moment. I think that'll answer your question.
Yeah, so obviously... you don't always have the answers. Going forward, it's just, you rely heavily on your faith, and you just move forward positively. And I was recently very fortunate to join a Gibbs course. It's by the Young Professionals Association. I went in there, and just from being in that lecture room, a girl stood up. She was the first lady that I heard talk in the course, and she pitched her idea. And her idea was ECD education with a sustainable solution to uplift communities. Yeah. And I saw her as an absolute gift. I approached her after the class, and I said to her, Mosima, our stars have aligned, we're after the same thing here. And that just shows, a wonderful African lady with a passion to do more. She's herself from Limpopo. She grew up in a rural area and didn't have the means to an ECD education that she would have liked. So she now wants to make that difference. And it's that, let's put it down to it. A young white male, a young African woman coming together by being in a classroom. And now we get to build on this glimmer of hope and this dream.
Yeah, and I think to illustrate on the glimmers of hope, the fact that she was in that classroom at Gibbs, which is a fantastic institution,
phenomenal.
Yeah,
sure.
Beautiful, yeah.
Really. Great. Gareth, how can people listening, say someone like myself, how can we work with you guys towards bringing positive change in these communities?
So we currently in Durban. I think that's been our, we're trying to move and get the next ECD centres we open up will certainly be in Gauteng. Okay. So we've got a lot of guys coming at the moment saying, how can we volunteer, how can we do things in Joburg, and we don't necessarily have anything at the moment. We do a lot of stuff like sticker sales. We do our events, which just by being there you're raising funds. One of our projects that we do is every month or 6 weeks we do a clothing sale down in Durban at the school, where we sell our second-hand clothing back to the community for 10 Rand.
Okay.
So they get nice clothing, and we raise a good amount of money to run the school. So I think that as a first port of call, if you've got any old cleathes, which I know everybody does.
Yeah, I'm busy clearing out my cupboard at the moment, actually.
We're coming for you.
Yeah, and you started.
You might have it tomorrow already, right? I need space at home.
Yeah. So that would probably be the first port of call. Yeah. Something that could really benefit. You give us 10 items, you've raised 100 Rand for the community. And that's another sustainable aspect where we're raising that in the community. They're getting the benefit of cheap clothes, and they're helping fund their own ECD centre.
I really like that idea. I mean, that just makes so much sense. 10 items is 100 Rand.
Yeah.
And how many people have
yeah.
clothes that they haven't worn in
Sure.
5 years that these guys dream about, you know?
No, 100%.
Your old Ed Hardy stuff is very valued there.
Got a second life coming.
Yeah, exactly.
On
So
what Gareth said there, sorry, Ryan, sorry, Gaz. Like also, we have our events, you know, we have our platforms, social media. Funding is one thing, but I think we need to also look at skill sets. You know, we call it sweat equity.
Yeah,
Us sitting here with you in your space and getting exposure, you know, it wasn't anyone coming forward with a monetary donation, although we need that. But we essentially run this as a business that is trying to break through with a lot of love. And if people can come forward and see like, okay, let's help these guys, let's walk the journey, you know, PR companies, guys who are getting our brands to align with our model, things like that, necessarily skill sets that we might not have. I think that's another avenue that people tend to forget about. Funding's one thing.
Sure.
But there's a whole lot of other stuff that all people could use help with.
100%.
yeah, and I think also one last thing to elaborate on that is, you know, we've had incredible people that we've met along the way, people that have come in to volunteer time, resources and skills, from architects to public relation people in the public relation space. You know, all the critical components that you would need in a business, we still need to get the word out there for this. You know, we need to get the right attention of the right people at the end of the day, if we want to, you know, turn this thing into something where we can have 100 schools.
Sure.
Which
100%.
we will get.
We're getting you
one
guys
day.
on the way there.
Said it on radio, so it must
There
be
we
true.
go. No, now you've committed to it, eh?
Yeah, so yeah, that list is really long. So I think rather ask,
and see how it can be accommodated.
And we'll find a way to help you plug in.
Okay.
At the end of the day, going back to what I said earlier, this was started as a way for people who want to give back easier. Whether that's money, whether that's time, whatever it is, like get a hold of us and we'll plug you in. We'll plug you in.
100%. As we start to wrap up, Brian, you list as an element in your core values, you quote faith as being a core value. It's actually the first of your list. Are you guys men of faith? And if so, how does this impact your mission as Sithanda?
Sure, yeah, Ryan, I love this one. We are men of faith, to answer your question directly. I don't think we would have ever got to where we are if it wasn't for our faith system. In saying that, though, we do not separate, divide, or subjugate which faith, you know, people should follow. We understand that there are many faith systems out there, and we respect that most of all.
Sure.
We are strong in our faith system, but we welcome people from all walks of life, you know, and let's just come together and ultimately pour into something which, as we said, is a lot bigger than ourselves.
Wonderful, great to see you guys standing up for what you believe in and putting it out there.
Thank you.
And declaring it. Much blessing to you guys as you continue. Gareth, as we finish with you, where can guys get hold of? We spoke about getting in touch with you guys. Where can people get hold of Sithanda?
So Facebook is probably the best port of call at the moment. Sithanda Upliftment Projects, long name I know, but we've got a page on there that's very active, and we've got a good growing community base of members. On our website, it's just we're busy doing a revamp on that, but all our contact details are there. If you're not sure how you want to or where to start, go online there. There's all the email addresses, the relevant email addresses. Drop us a line and we'll plug you into the right WhatsApp group. We've got fantastic groups on all different types of causes, and we built like a community there. There's lots of friendships that have been built out of that you know go far beyond Sithanda. People that have met at our events and all of that. So I think that's a great place to start. And even if you just want to get added to a group and sit back quietly, suss it out, and then raise your hand when you're ready, then that's great.
Yeah,
sure.
let's do it.
Great, guys. Thank you for your time. That brings us to the end of yet another interesting show with much to ponder and consider. Ryan and Gareth, I wish you guys nothing but continued success as you work towards this rather noble goal. I pray the Lord's blessing upon both of you, all three of you, everyone who's involved in your project. And I just pray that much fruit is to come, has already come, and will continue to come from this. And I hope that people get hold of you and really find their ways that they can tap into what you guys are doing. Thank you for your time.
Ryan, thank you. It means a massive amount to us.
Thank you so much. Guys, that was a great show. Next week, we've got a rather interesting show. We're going to be discussing the water crisis down in Cape Town, so make sure you join us. I've got 3 guests from Cape Town, so it's going to be a bit of a juggling act between the 4 of us next week. Don't forget to join the WhatsApp notification list if you want notifications each time we go live as SoapBox Radio. Send me on any one of my platforms your South African cell number. I'll add you to the list and you'll get a notice. It's been great being back with you guys again this week. That was SoapBox Radio, and I'm out of here.
You've been listening to SoapBox Radio, potting it out there with my line boots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. At My Line Boots. And on YouTube. At My Line Boots Live.